Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for this is your June bonus reading. You have this career change card. It says, does your career fully align with who you are physically, emotionally, and spiritually? You also have this passive income card. It says, the best money is made while you sleep. Hell yes, Aquarius, definitely true. So a lot of you could be doing things to kind of like improve your finances or increase your finances, which is great. And, I think that would be very good. It's a good time for that. Uranus is going to be changing signs, but we had Uranus and Taurus, and Uranus and Taurus is actually really good for things like passive income and, or like, setting up a second stream of income, for example. And so, it could be a good time for you to look into that. If that's something you're interested in, it could be you like developing a side hustle or a side gig or, whatever, right? So that's that. You have the Chariot in your current general energies, which is amazing. The first I'm doing a Celtic cross, obviously, and the first card in the Celtic cross is how you enter into the reading. And so the Chariot would be entering in victorious. Some of you could be moving, or maybe you already have moved as well. You have the Chariot in the World showing up here, and so and you also have the King of Cups. One thing is that the King of Cups to me is a clue card. I have some cards in the tarot I call clue cards, and they're just a clue to me about something happening, and I call the King of Cups a card of the home. So some of you could be moving, or maybe you're thinking about moving, or you already have moved. And this looks like a positive move. This could also be you making moves as well. The Chariot is really a card of taking control of your life or deciding to take control of your life and making something happen. So, some of you could just be taking control of something in your life, or you could be taking control of things in your life to make things happen. And, obviously that would be a good thing with the Chariot. Chariot is also as above, so below. He's got these stars up here, these moons right here. So we have to practice being in alignment with the Chariot. So if there are things that you want in life that you don't have yet, the Chariot says you have to move in new directions, right? He's leaving the city behind him behind. He's setting himself apart. The next 20 years, 19 years of your life, Aquarius, are going to be about you setting yourself apart, making yourself unique, and you have to do things differently. And if you do that, you will find a lot of success. You have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords says that something could be dead, done, over with in your life. This is your crossing energy, and the crossing energy can be what hurts you or helps you in a Celtic cross. So the Ten of Swords says that something in your life might be dead, done, over with, but you have to release it and let it go, whatever it is. So, as a crossing energy, you can still say that you're like maybe holding on to something from the past that you need to release. It could be anything. It could be, I kind of feel like it's mental just looking at the reading. It could be like a belief system, an idea, something that you used to believe that you don't any longer. But I would just be looking at things like your beliefs that no longer serve you. And, don't be afraid to release things with this card. The Ten of Swords can represent like seeing that something is a blessing in disguise in the future. So some of you might not realize it yet, but letting go of something that's holding you back, could be a blessing in disguise in the future. And that's pretty much all I get there right now. Next, in the area of your thoughts, you have the World card, which is amazing. The World can represent an accomplishment or an achievement. So a lot of you could be having some sort of accomplishment or an achievement at this time with the World. You could be kind of like reaching new heights as well with the World card. So if you're trying to be more successful, if you're trying to do things to be more successful, this could be, more success coming in for you, which is great. You also show up right here, Aquarius, in this top corner. So even though the World is Capricorn, you show up on the card. So whenever you show up as yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. And I do feel a lot of you could be finding like a lot more success in the world at this time. This could also just be you thinking about, having doing something that you want to accomplish. And I think it would be an amazing time for you to do things that you want to accomplish. Next, in your foundation, you have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles kind of like work hard, play hard. And I do think it's an amazing time for, working hard and playing hard. I don't know. I don't really, if I'm being honest with you here, Aquarius, I don't really feel much here. I literally just think that it's saying that you're going to be busy this summer like everybody else. I think it's a very busy summer. This would actually be a good thing because it would be saying that you are balancing the two energies, right? If all you're doing is working, trust me, as someone who has tried it, it doesn't work, right? And if all you're doing is working and you're not having fun, your life will suffer. I always say, like, if I don't go for a walk every day, if I don't do my hobbies, at least a couple times a week, then my life just goes to shit, plain and simple, right? Things stop working, things start going downhill, and all this other stuff. I am convinced that in life we have to balance both sides, our fun side and also the work side, right? And we have to that's how we live a truly fulfilling life. So I think that this really, even though we don't think of the Two of Pentacles as a card of fulfillment necessarily, I intuitively that's what I feel for you, Aquarius. This is talking about true balance, true fulfillment in your life, and I think that's what you could be creating, or maybe that's what you're focusing on. That could just be a focus for you as well. I also sometimes, again, Two of Pentacles is also one of my clue cards. And sometimes I feel the Two of Pentacles can represent a settlement. So if you're waiting for, you have the Chariot, which would be like a victory. So if you're waiting for some sort of settlement, like a, insurance payout or a legal settlement or whatever, this could be some sort of settlement coming in for you as well. Next, in the area of what you're moving past or the past, you have this Toxic Triggers card. It says, find the strength to remove yourself from toxic influences in your life. You have this Lone Wolf card. It says, listen to your inner wolf and embrace your sacred wild nature that thirsts for freedom. That's a very Aquarian card. I have found that most Aquariuses I know are lone wolves. So I don't know. But this could be a good thing because, again, it could say that you're opening up to, people, or you're going to start allowing people into your life, or you're going to be more social. And, I think that could be a good thing. Letting go of toxic triggers could be good as well. You have the Knight of Swords also showing up in the energy of what you're moving past. Yeah, Knight of Swords would be jumping to conclusions. It's kind of funny because your opposite sign, Leo, always gets the Knight of Swords with me a lot. And I'm always saying to Leo that they need to be careful of jumping to conclusions. So, it's coming up for you in this reading, but it's coming up in the past. So a lot of you could be letting go of jumping to conclusions, or you could be releasing that energy. You could be more trusting the evidence or looking into the evidence. I'm pretty sure all year I've been saying that you really need to look at the evidence of what you're doing or what's happening in your life to get the best result. And I think that would be very helpful for you, Aquarius, is really looking at the evidence, trusting the evidence, all that other stuff. And that's what I would do with that Knight of Swords. Next, in the area of your very near future, you have this 4C card and this Synchronicity card as well. I feel like there's something that you do see happening in your life. It's this could be anything here, Aquarius, but sometimes I think we just know something, right? So I'll give you a great example. I was having some sort of health issue over the past couple of weeks, right? And I thought it was one thing, but then when I really tapped into myself, that's not what I thought the health issue was, right? So I spent all last week at the doctor, and it was really annoying. I hate the doctors; they make me nervous, right? And but the funny thing is that basically the doctors were like, "There's nothing wrong with you. It's all in your head, right?" And all this other stuff. But it's I kind of knew that before I even had to deal with this, and so. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's sometimes I think we know the answer, and both of these cards are kind of saying that to me, Aquarius, that you kind of know the answer to something. I think you've seen the synchronicity surrounding something. I think that you can almost see the future with the 4C card, and maybe that something that you're angling towards or something that you're working towards is going to work. But at the same time, it's I think you need to bring it into the 3D. It's I had to go get proof that I was just, whatever, creating things in my head, right? And once I did that, I felt better, right? And so that's the reason I'm telling you this story, is because I feel like once you get the answers that you already know, I think you'll feel a lot better. And I think that there's some sort of answer where, I think there are a lot of synchronicities around something that you could be trying to manifest or create in your life. And it's the universe is are you going to bring this into your life or what? And so I think it's time to make your moves here, Aquarius. You have this King of Cups. It could be love that you are bringing into your life with the King of Cups. King of Cups would be a very emotionally mature person. It could be a water sign, could be any sign, general reading. But, he has very deep emotions that he has explored to a deep level. And so you could be attracting a person like that. This could also be about your emotions. This could say that you feel like emotionally attracted to something, like an idea. It could be anything. Maybe it's a place you want to move to, or something you want to create, or somewhere you want to go. And the King of Cups is saying you need to follow your emotions. The reason that the King of Cups can kind of represent fear, because he has this boat behind him. The boat on the King of Cups represents kind of like a time where our ancestors would get on boats and they wouldn't know where they were going. And it's kind of like a card of stepping into the unknown. I've been saying since 2020, literally, that everything you want is on the other side of something you've never done before. I said this on an interview that's probably on my Chris Reck channel. I don't remember who I said that to, but it was, it might have been Leo King, but it might have been someone else. I don't remember. But anyway, I think that, everything we want is on the other side of something we've never done before. Never has there been a time in history where we have to explore the unknown so deeply, like where we have to like take the risk of being wrong. And, I think the King of Cups is encouraging you to do that. I think he's also encouraging you to make a move. Because we have the World, Chariot. It's almost like something is guaranteed to be successful, but you're making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be, whatever it is. Doesn't even have to be love. It could be anything. And I think with the Two of Swords, it's like you're trying to protect yourself, which is understandable, based off of the past many years that we've been through. But, really, it's like you're preventing yourself from success. Next, in the area of your outcome, you have this transformation is beautiful. This butterfly spirit says transformation is beautiful. You have this parrot spirit says watch your words. Yes, definitely, I think we all need to be making sure that we are only speaking positively at this time. Affirmations is like a really good thing that we all could be doing right now, and kind of like being more specific about our words and correcting the direction of our thoughts. It's kind of funny because after this thing happened to me, I was like really kind of thinking about my thoughts. Like I've been maybe, if I really think about it, it's like I think I've been having a lot of anxious thoughts about things that don't really matter. And so like I started, I've started since keeping track of it on a notebook, and it's like anytime I have those thoughts, I start correcting it, and I correct my thoughts and go in the other direction. It's kind of like annoying, but it's like at the same time, like so many great teachers like Joe Dispenza and like some of the others, they all talk about how like 90% of our thoughts are automatic, right? I remember I heard that years ago, and it changed my life because I was like, wow, I don't want things to just like automatically happen. I want to be in control here. So I started keeping track of my thoughts, and I started directing them, and my life changed significantly. And so, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because it's like sometimes I fall off the wagon too, like I did recently. And it's like now I've gotten back on, and I've kind of like gotten back to the place where I'm like, I'm not being paranoid about it or anything, but if I catch myself having a negative thought, I like correct it to something else. And so I think it would be, really good for you to do that here, Aquarius. Next, in the area of the next few months, you have the Two of Swords. I don't know. I think you need to make a decision instead of agonizing over a decision here, Aquarius. She is thinking that her life can only go this way or this way, but really she has this new island behind her, and it kind of represents a third place solution or a different direction that her life could move in. And so I think you need to realize that things can get better for you, that things can improve. And I think you need to believe that as well. So, it's like you need to believe that things can get better. And I also think you need to like try new things with the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is just about third place solutions, really, and trusting your intuition. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, you have the Death card. Definitely could be a lot of changes. I think we are in a time where our relationships are changing. I don't think this has to be a bad thing at all. I think some of us could be releasing some relationships, getting into others. And I'm not even talking about just love. This could be your relationship to things, like your relationship to your job, or your relationship to your business or to your friends. It's like sometimes we have to draw certain boundaries, and we need to stick with those boundaries as well. And, I kind of feel that on this card where it's like, if maybe your boss calls you on weekends when you're off, maybe you need to set the boundary and say like, no, you can talk to me when I'm working, but I'm not working 24/7, right? And there's something about that popping into my head with this card. It's like saying, even though we don't think of the Death card as a card of boundaries, that's what I feel for you. I feel like it's saying you need to have those boundaries. You need to have stricter boundaries with like bosses and things like that. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Nine of Cups, which is amazing. Nine of Cups is like wish fulfillment or fulfillment coming in for you. And I definitely feel you could be feeling very fulfilled as we move through the summer. Again, it is a very good summer. I think that there will be plenty of craziness and crazy things going on in the world, but really we're just seeing the death of an old system. I'm not even worried about it. It's going to take until at least 2033. I've been saying this for months. Now, all of a sudden, by the way, all the astrologers are talking about 2033. It's like, where did they get that idea? It's like I've only been talking about it since like 2016, right? So yeah, all of a sudden I've noticed it, and I'm like, oh, where'd you get this idea, right? But anyway, what I would say here is I think that we're witnessing the death of an old system. It's very obvious to me with Neptune and Pisces. I've been talking about this since 2016, that things are changing, and we can choose to be fulfilled through the changes, and I feel like that's what you need to choose here with the Nine of Cups. You have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is a card of curiosity and following your curiosity. I think you need to ask a lot of questions. Again, we have entered into this new world. I've been talking about this forever, literally for years. I mean, you can go to any podcast I've been on. It's all I talk about. And, again, it's the same thing. I think the worlds are splitting. I said this with Devin Dewar the other day, that I think the time we're entering into is like Severance, that TV show Severance on Apple TV. If you haven't watched it, it's weird, it's trippy, but it's like these people live in two different worlds, and it's kind of like that's what we're entering into. And I think we need to be curious about like how things could be possible from a spiritual perspective, and that's what I would do there. With the Chariot and the Ten of Swords, you have the Emperor. I think the Emperor is encouraging you to boss up. Everybody has been getting the Emperor. Again, we have Neptune and Saturn and Pisces. They will be retrograding out of Pisces this year. I mean, in Aries, sorry. They will be retrograding into Pisces, but doesn't matter. They're both in Aries. And I think that really this Aries, especially Saturn, I think Saturn is really going to be encouraging people to like see something through to the end, something that you want to manifest or create. It's definitely time to see those things through to the end and, make them happen. And, I kind of feel personally that it's a little bit of a blessing that Saturn happens to be going into Aries at exactly the same time as Neptune, basically, pretty much, right? And next year, on January 26th, Neptune moves back into Aries. And then in February, Saturn moves back into Aries. So basically the same time. And I think it's a little bit of a blessing because I think that Saturn energy is going to give us the discipline to take those crazy ideas from Neptune and like bring them into reality. And, I think it's going to be very helpful for people. You could also be attracting an Emperor as well here if you're looking for love. With the world, you have the Eight of Wands, a lot of movement. I think this is busy bee energy right here, Aries. I think that you're like a busy little bee or a busy little beaver, whichever you prefer. I don't care. And I think you could be making a lot of moves, which is great. This reading definitely says you could be making moves. I think there could be a ton of attention and communication here as well. The world and the Eight of Wands would be like people communicating with you. It could also be you thinking about communicating with people. So take it how it resonates, but not only that, the Eight of Wands is a card of socializing. And if you're if you want to socialize, if you want to be more social, now is the time. Yes, with the Two of Pentacles, you have the Chariot. Make your move. Make the move. Here, Aquarius, it is time to make the move that you've been thinking about. Two of Pentacles is going back and forth, thinking like, do I, don't I? Do I charge towards my heart or whatever the King of Cups is? Do I move towards my emotions or do I just keep thinking about it? I don't know. I don't know what you are going to do, Aquarius, but I don't know. Looks like a victory to me. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is about walking away from things that no longer serve you. So, I don't know. I think that a lot of you could be walking away from things that no longer serve you. It's coming up in the past. In a lot of ways, I feel like you are, this is kind of funny as well because, what's popping into my head here, Aquarius, is that some of you could be making a decision like right now that you thought about making in the past. And I do think some of you could be thinking to yourselves like, I should have just made this decision in the past. So, I don't know. I don't know if that helps you make a decision or not, but there you go. With the King of Cups, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is a card of slow, steady progress. So I think you're making progress, which is good. He's the only knight in the tarot that isn't making a move. So again, definitely time to make a move. Although, again, I do feel pretty good about this. It's like you know everything you need to know. I don't know if this is going to be helpful for you or not, Aquarius, but if you're thinking about making a move towards a person, a place, or a thing, doesn't matter what it is, it's like you know everything you need to know. I think you're over prepared for something, and so I would just go for it, whatever this is. But yeah, looks good. With the Two of Swords, you have the Empress. Oh, what do you know? We have the Emperor and the Empress right here, so divine counterparts. The Empress says you're very attractive at this time, Aquarius. Sorry, I feel like I've been calling you Capricorn, so sorry. I have too many signs floating around my head, but Aquarius, I think that you're very attractive at this time. I think you could really be standing out with that Empress energy. I think that there's also a lot of opportunity for abundance for you, but the abundance is going to come through the Eight of Wands in the world. Putting what, if you do work, obviously, for money, putting that work out into the world. I would also say efficiency. Eight of Wands is like creating a slip and slide in your life. Eight of Wands says you need to look at the places in your life that cause friction. You need to either get rid of those things or smooth them out and create more of a slip and slide in your life. You need to create more smooth energy. And, this in work, this can help you make more money. And that's what I would be focused on. With the Death card, you have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, no jumping to conclusions like we said, but again, this could be a quick change in your relationships. Like, there could be love coming in for you quickly, or there could just be multiple new relationships coming in for you quickly. With the Nine of Cups, you have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords, like self-imposed restriction. So I feel that you need to set yourself free from things that have been holding you back here with the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is also about trusting your intuition. She needs to take her blindfold off, right? The blindfolds in the tarot can represent not trusting your intuition, and I feel that here. I also feel, like I said, that you're overcomplicating something here, Aquarius. I basically have been saying this to you, that like there's something you clearly are wishing for, and I think you're making it a bigger deal than it needs to be. I also think that in the future, if you move towards this wish and you get it, you're going to be like, that was a lot easier than I thought. So I don't know if that helps, but there you go. Next, with the Page of Swords, you have the Page of Swords here. So the Page of Swords, basically the universe saying I meant what I said. I think that a lot of you need to trust your intuition. I think you need to ask more questions, move towards move towards curiosity. If there's something you're curious about, I would learn as much as you can about it, whatever it is. Ask a lot of questions, do your research, all that other good stuff, Aquarius. You have this Boat card. It says money or property through an inheritance, winning or windfall. Love it. Definitely very good. Like I said, money looks pretty good. You don't have a lot of money cards here, which actually could be a good thing because it could be saying that money is fine and it's not, you don't need to focus on it. But you also have the Empress, so definitely a lot of abundance. You have this Caterpillar card. It says things will not always be this way. A change is coming. Yeah, I think there are a lot of positive changes coming in for you, Aquarius. So, I don't know. Definitely could be a positive change. You have this Nest card. It says an emotionally secure, loving family is important for you. If you're like wanting to have a family, you could be attracting a person who you will have a family with. This could also just say, like, we do see a lot of stuff about people in this reading. So, maybe focusing on the people, the people that are like better for you or better to you, or, focusing on those like concentrated connections, the connections that really support you would be a good idea with this energy. And, just popping into my head. You have this Bow card. It says you are highly thought of. Yes. I think you need to give yourself more credit. Maybe that's true also with that Nine of Cups. If you're trying to accomplish something you don't think you can accomplish, it's like you need to give yourself more credit. And, that's kind of what I feel there. You have this Jug. It says lighthearted, carefree time. Yes, Two of Pentacles. I think, work hard, play hard, but I think you need to have more fun in life. I think you need to do more fun things as well. And that's it. That's pretty much all I would do with this card is more enjoyment, more fun things. And I think that will improve things for you. But this looks really good, Aquarius. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your month.